I'm at 1168 South Lynnebrook Drive doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. A couple things I want to note here before we get started. First of all, what we're doing here is we're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, anything that may be of concern to the buyer. But I also want to note that I am going through the floor clean out in the center front of the basement before you go under the front porch. It will have a white PVC clean out cap on it. There is a stack in the rear right next in between the hot water heater and the HVAC, and that line looks like the bottom of it is rusted out, the part that's left. The center of it has been replaced with PVC, but there is no clean out on the stack, so has fern cones or like rubber boots holding it in, and it looks like it's been recently maybe pulled apart to do. There's evidence of backups down here with toilet paper on the floor over there by the stack, and a large what looked like a plug. Maybe it came out of the vertical, I'm not really sure. But I was going to take my camera and I will walk it over there and just to get a little bit of an image of it here. So normally we don't use this camera for anything outside the pipe, but in this case I did want to show kind of what was going on here. And as you can see, I'm walking towards the back of the house. So you can see all the toilet paper and stuff on the floor. This is the base of the stack going up. You can see there's even toilet paper on the fern coat. Duct tape wrapped around this fern coat or rubber boot, and so didn't want to disassemble that in fear of causing more issues. I don't know if I showed real quick looks like there's some cracking right there at the base of what's left of the cast iron, and then it goes to PVC once you get up a little higher. So just wanted to note that before we got started. And then what I am going through is that cast iron clean out here, and this is forcing me to go forward. I may see if I can get it to go back. But I'm going to put the camera in there, and I'm going to zero out the footage counter so you can see where we are. So I'm going to zero out the camera now. And so this should be the beginning of the where we go into the pipe. And it does look like this is a cast iron clean out, but it looks like it is clay underneath the floor, which is good. There's a little bit of a belly right there at the beginning. I was able to get past it though. That camera lens is only about a ½ inch off the bottom of the pipe, so that little bit of water is not much. The diameter of this is 6 inch of the clay line that you're in, and so a little ½ inch of water is not anything to worry about. So since we have clay under here, I actually prefer the clay under the floor than the cast iron. Cast iron, as you can tell by what we saw earlier, it rusts out. clay does not have a definitive lifespan, so as long as it doesn't crack or earth doesn't move a ton, or the main problem, usually you have some root intrusion, but usually that can be taken care of with maintenance. So far, this all looks really good. See, all the joints are nice and tight. Haven't seen any root intrusion. And you can tell also in the bottom left-hand corner there is an angle indicator. Kind of shows how the camera is sitting. This all looks really good. So I'm assuming this house must have been built in the 20s, based off of having clay underneath the floor here and all the way out. And so we'll take a look at that spot. There's a small offset there. I didn't see any solids caught up on it or anything, but just as a note, we'll locate where that is. And then right here we have a pretty large offset, but it looks like this is what they did to turn the pipe down. So what they would do is they have like a bell on one side, or a female end, and then the male end from the other piece of pipe is inserted into it. And a lot of times like this, they wouldn't use a turn. They would actually just kind of rotate the pipe down. You can see that's kind of what they did here. And so it's an offset, but it's a downstream offset, so it's not a problem. It's just it's dropping downstream. Plus also a note would be that this is right at the main. So the first connection, you can see we're looking into the sewer main in the street, and this first connection here past the tap is that offset, and this would be maintained by the Metropolitan Sewer District of Cincinnati. So this would not be, if this did for some reason ever collapse, this would be the responsibility of the sewer department. You are only 3 feet from the connection on the main, and so you are definitely off the property. But structurally the line looked really good. You can see here is that spot, and this does have an offset, but there was also some kind of buildup on it. This could be some, yeah, that just looks like, if you see that, that's not actually the connection, that's some mortar buildup, it looks like, where when they put the pipe together, this stuff got into the line when they made the connection. That's why it kind of looks like concrete. And so that's probably been there for the life of the house. And this is also less than 10 feet from the main, and so this would also be off the property. But I will pause the video at that point, and I'll go ahead and get a locate just to verify that that is where this is, and then we will finish the inspection. So I'm going to pause the video to locate. Okay, so I didn't locate this. It is about 4 feet into the street, so it is off the property. So just a note so you know that this is off the property, and if there was ever an issue caused by this, it does look like I said, it does look like the mortar that they had used to connect the pipe just kind of bled through when they connected it, and that's that's that little hump there. You can kind of see it, and that's what's holding that little tiny bit of water. But there are no solid buildup. There's no solid buildup in that spot, so it's not really a concern. But it will be noted. And the rest of this line looked really, really good structurally. I don't see any roots, no major offsets or anything. All the issues are in the street, and so off the property. And those aren't current issues. The sewer district would not do anything about any of that. they would just wait until it actually causes a problem. And so, just something else to note, I found that the house was built in the late 40s. So this is very uncommon to have, usually at this point there would be cast iron under the floor. But as noted earlier, this is all clay, so it's pretty good to know. Okay, so I'm coming up to the clean out here. It's holding just a hair of water. Usually that kind of happens with the clean out connection. It might settle a little bit. I'm going to see if I can get this to go upstream. And I did. I was able to get it to go upstream, so that's good. Should be able to take a look and see if there's any cast iron or any issues based off of the evidence by the stack that there was a backup. It could have just been at the base of that stack or in the stack from the toilet or something. Yeah, it looks like I see that is a chunk of pipe or something. Kind of hard to tell what that is, and that may have come off or fallen down when they made the repair. I'm unable to go into like these branches there off to the left, just due to the capability of the camera, and so I may try to run some water or something to kind of show these connections, but this actually is going into a smaller diameter of 4" as we get closer to that. And here's where the cast iron is inserted into the clay. And this is we are at the base of that stack. So it looks to me, based off of the evidence, that I'm going to go and try to look up into that stack. It looks like this may have had a plug, because you can see this is where that fern coat, as I showed earlier, we are vertical based off of the angle indicator on the bottom left-hand corner. This is the PVC that is above ground in that stack. It looks like it had been, somebody had been into it recently and they had pulled what looked like a plug out of it. So that may have been what happened, is it had a blockage in the vertical. So I really didn't see any issues with anything underground. It's probably going to be need to replace the cast of iron where it comes down through the stack, and then you have, let's see, maybe a foot or a foot and a half after it turns under the floor that you would want to replace, and then just get rid of all the cast iron. It's obviously rusting through above ground, and so you want to remove that at the base and where it connects into the clay. All the clay looks really good structurally. I didn't see any issues with the clay at all. So I'm actually very happy with all the pipe underground. Here we are coming out of the clean out. So, I found a small offset out in the street, and a little bit of remnants of some from when they made the connection, but nothing that's causing any issues at the time. And the only real thing to note is to replace the last bit of cast iron there above the floor in the stack, and where it 90s underneath the floor, just to get rid of that cast iron. The stuff that's rusted through, and that like last foot under the floor. But the clay all looked very good structurally. No root intrusion, no bellies. And so that'll end the inspection for 1168 South Lynnebrook Drive.